Hey friends, it's Rosalind. Welcome back to my garden. When I was growing up, we lived right across the road from my grandpa's 80-acre farm. It was the best, running through grandpa's fields and exploring the big barn. So I always dreamed of owning my own little piece of land, a place where my children can run through the fields and have a little barn to play in. When my husband and I first got married, we moved to a tiny rental property. We obviously weren't able to do anything with the property, but we bought our first home in town 2 years later, and I immediately made a little vegetable garden as well as my own first flower bed. That is when I fell in love with gardening. We lived in town for a few years, and then we bought this property, which has 2.5 acres. And when we first moved here, there was only grass. There was weeds everywhere. There were no gardens. But now fast forward 8 years, we have an herb garden, we have a vegetable garden, we have a lot of cut flower gardens, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. We're expecting a frost next week, and I have been working like crazy in the garden trying to get all the last minute things done. I found a recipe on Pinterest for sun-dried tomatoes, and I thought this is the perfect way to use the last of the tomatoes since I am done with all of the canning for this year. Whenever I feel like I need a little pick-me-up, I make myself a fruit smoothie with kale and beetroot powder that I dehydrated and grinded up this past summer. I usually add a handful of fresh kale, 1 banana, and some frozen berries from this summer's garden, a little bit of milk, and 1 tablespoon of beetroot powder. And oh my goodness, I have energy after I drink this. Nasturtium flowers actually have antioxidants in them, so I have been adding them to my smoothies lately. They add a little bit of a peppery flavor to the smoothie. I also like to actually just eat them fresh in salads or on top of my smoothie. For my sun-dried tomatoes, I'm using Roma tomatoes and cherry tomatoes. I'm having them, and then I am sprinkling herbs right on top of the tomatoes. And then I also sprinkled some salt and granulated garlic on top just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. And I let them dehydrate for 24 hours. And this is what they looked like just before they were dehydrated. And this was 24 hours later. Don't they look drastically different? I top them off with olive oil, and then we will be keeping this jar in the refrigerator. This can also be frozen. We'll be using it in stews, pasta, or even in bruschetta, pizza, anything like that. They taste amazing. I recently stumbled across a book at our local library. It's a book about herbs and the different ways that they can benefit us. It has intrigued me so much, and I want to learn so much more about growing herbs. I will share the book at the end of this video. This is echinacea. Last year I made a tincture with it, and since we still have some left over, I am simply going to be drying the echinacea and will be using it in teas this winter. Echinacea can be used for the common cold or the flu. Since we're expecting a frost next week, I have been moving the houseplants inside. I'm making a spray for the plants before I bring them on inside. It's supposed to keep the gnats away from the plant and to get rid of the gnats if there is any gnats in your plants. I simply mix 1 part hydrogen peroxide to 4 parts water. I spray the tops and the bottoms of the leaves and make sure that I saturate the soil with the spray. I've also been trying to get all of my dahlias marked. Before we really get a frost, I have 50 dahlia plants and there's quite a few different varieties. I simply take some painter's tape and a marker and I mark each dahlia plant, what variety they are. That way, once I lift those clumps of tubers out of the ground, I won't forget what the variety is. This year, I'm also saving seeds from my dahlias. This is a great way to discover new varieties of dahlias. The way to do this is to let your flowers age on your plant, don't deadhead them. Once they're papery and browned, this is the perfect stage to be cutting them. The seeds will not come back true to the mother plant, which makes it so exciting because you do not know what this dahlia will look like when it's grown from seed. Since we're expecting frost next week, I did cut some of the seed heads a little bit early, but as long as these seeds are plump and gray, they will be a viable seed. Your seed will be in between the spent flower petals, and this is what they will look like. You can let your seeds dry for about a week, and then you want to put them into a paper envelope. Mark your envelope, what kind of seed you have in here, and they will be ready for planting next spring. Thank you for gardening with me today, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate each and every one of you and all of your kind words. Have an amazing week, and I will see you right back here next Saturday. Bye.